like a little square, or it might be,
Oh, okay.
yeah. If you click on that, it might expand the screen.
Well, I got you bigger anyway.
Well, you know, that's okay. Go to the far right. It says view, maybe. Do you have that?
Yeah, gallery.
Yeah. I have
There we are.
yeah,
Now
okay.
I can see. Now I can see my hair's all messed up. I've been busy all morning running around.
All right. So you're all good?
I'm all good.
All good. So this is Sue Greenwald with Awakened Stories, and I'm here today with the original slash real John F. Kennedy Jr. Hey, John, how are you?
I am doing great. It's always nice to be on with you.
Well, thank you. And I'm going to just say this now. So John has written a book, Stolen Identity, and this is what the cover looks like. So we're basing our conversation on this book. And if you haven't seen him, the previous videos. So rather than retell the story each time, which, you know, gets a little old and probably it's like driving the knife in your heart a little more each time. I thought it would be good to just have a conversation each time. So, yeah.
Is
So,
that for our live now?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it
Hey,
up.
Sue.
yeah.
Robin's trying to pull this up and it's coming up. Whoops. Whoops. Can you see that?
Yeah. I don't know what
It's
it says, but I've got
it's
it live here. Okay, so we're
it's
live.
saying this. It says this video is private. This video is private playback ID.
Mm.
So I don't know if everybody else is getting that. I don't know.
We've got 9 watching so far.
You did. Let me try
Keep
it
trying,
again.
Robin.
Okay.
Maybe log out and then log back in. So we were just
I'm trying
talking.
my phone too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's my phone. Try that one too.
Thanks, babe.
We were just talking a minute ago. Like I had sent John something last week, and the postman said it would be there on Saturday. And I've been watching the tracking number, and every time I go to the post office website and put the tracking number in, the whole screen goes blank. It just like wipes it out. And I've done it repeatedly. And of course, it's now Tuesday, and he still didn't get what I sent him.
And
So
it's not very far. It's like
yeah,
next day
I
mail.
could drive it over in a second, you know, but so everybody here, there's right now there's 13 on, and they're all saying that they can see and hear. So
Oh,
yeah, that's weird. So anyways, what we're talking about is censorship. All right. Why is it they don't want this story out there? I wonder.
because we're exposing the truth.
Yeah.
Everybody's been lied to.
Yeah.
Everybody has been lied to. It's a big movie. And I was going live this morning sharing that we were going to be on today. Um, but, you know, we have been lied to so awful bad. I've been lied to my whole entire life
Right.
to go with their plan. Their plan is a stall, but I'm exposing how the system really works. I was born in the White House, not literally, but I was born in Walter Reed, but my father was president when I was born. I don't know how many times that has ever happened. And then my father was assassinated when I was 3. And I got to learn my whole life how they operate and how they work. And with that said, I was thinking before our show, MK Ultra. MK Ultra is a huge weapon that is used by these people in government. And one reason why I think I was, under MK Ultra my whole life and put under MK Ultra is because it's such a huge weapon. And they can use it on generals, they can use it on military personnel, they can use it on anybody. And it's so huge. You can get a human being to do anything under that control. It's a downright weapon. But the more you are put under it, the more you have to go through it. Your mind gets used to it. Um, it's just like anything else. If you do something long enough, it comes repetitive. So with MK Ultra, once you do it so much, you can actually come out of that state, and it becomes a normal state. So I'm thinking, I was thinking that earlier. maybe that's why, because it's such a powerful weapon. You can use it to control people, and maybe they did it to me so much so I could not be controlled in the future.
So basically, you've kind of been breaking out of that pattern, is what you're saying, that you're,
Yeah, because you
yeah,
can literally put somebody under MK Ultra
yeah,
by my experience. And what, this isn't
yeah,
conspiracy theory. This is what I personally seen. You can get somebody under MK Ultra to drive into a brick wall. You can get them to commit a head-on collision, and it'll be an accident. You can get them to take their own life. Many things you can do with MK Ultra and the weapon that it is. Um, so yeah, it's a huge weapon.
yeah.
But the more and more I was put under, the more you can refuse it and not go with the program that the program is programmed for. I get many comments. Many comments. How come they kept you alive? Why did they keep you alive? How come you're not dead? Why are you still here? If you were really John Kennedy Jr., they would have killed you. Well, there's two sides to government. There's two sides to war, and they've tried many, many times to take my life. Many times. Every time I say that, I see that bullet. And you know, working in my front yard in the '80s, just trying to make my yard a beautiful place, and somebody tried to take my life in my front yard. And I can still smell the gunpowder also. When that bullet went by my face and grazed my face, I could smell the gunpowder. And, it was total mind screw in there, because when snipers out in the woods wanting you dead, you don't know who they are or why they are trying to take your life. But yeah, it's I can't stress it enough. People need to be aware of the government programs and what they actually have. But yeah, all the comments, well, why are you still here? Well, I thank God I'm still here to share my story with you. You should be happy I'm still here to share my story with you. I've learned a lot, and I'm sharing what I've learned. And we need to take our country back from these people that have that power and control over
Right,
individuals.
right, right.
And here's a good picture of me on how I stayed alive.
Okay, down a little bit more so we can see it more. Yeah, that's better. We can't really see your face.
Let me kill this light here. That's a big.
Uh, that didn't make much difference, but we get the gist. We get the gist. So tell us about that picture.
Now I got a red and green light going on. I don't know how to shut it off.
Hey, don't press too many buttons.
Well, I name my weapons, and
Yeah.
that weapon right there, this one it's got a Kennedy $50 on it. That's an AR-15, and that's right here. I just had that's a 44 Magnum. Clint Eastwood, where he holds it up and says, "This is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world, and it'll take your head clean, a perk off." Famous line from Dirty Harry. That's what that is. But I had a friend, he's got an engraver, so I took the grips off, and I had JFK put on the grips. Hey, Robin, bring me my 44, please.
Good, good thing we have
But,
Robin, the assistant.
yeah, she's so appreciated.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she's on
But
the video, by the way, too.
I name them after my loved ones that have been murdered. And if you can see, this is Daddy. I got Daddy on both sides there, because I'm left-handed. I was left-handed as a child, but they didn't want me to be recognized as being left-handed. So if you look at all the photos of me when I was a childhood actor, all the photos of me in the White House, all the photos are of me, but you'll see I was left-handed. Everything I did was with my left hand, and it shows in the pictures. Well, after they replaced me, if I reached out with my right hand, I mean my left hand, they would slap it and say, "You got to use your other hand." So
Right.
I became
Ambidextrous.
ambidextrous.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I kept on my toes, and it kept me pretty fast. But I always practiced being fast with my hands. I did it. I practiced it just for survival techniques. But I was walking through a casino. This was 20, 30 years ago. And there was a waitress and she had a tray and she was walking by and her dollar bill blew off her tray at the same time I was walking by, and I reached up and I grabbed it in midair and I stuck it back on her tray before she even noticed, and she was like, "What just happened?"
How cool
But
is
yeah,
that?
I always tried to be very fast with my hands, not that it matters, but it was always just so I would have the quick draw. When I was when I was young, seriously, and this was in the 80s, I was wearing body armor. I had a Derringer on my ankle, and I carried two revolvers, and I always would get small weapons where they would be concealed, um, so nobody even knew I had a weapon. If I wanted to go swimming, and this was because my life was in danger all the time, 24 hours a day. Even if I was off in the middle of nowhere, if I wanted to go swimming, I would get a Ziploc bag and I would put a 38 special in that Ziploc bag and close it and put it in my swim trunks where you couldn't see it. And I would be swimming. And that way, if I was in the pool and somebody wanted to take my life, at least I would have a chance. If I wasn't taking a shower, call it paranoia or whatever you want to call it, but I called it trying to stay alive because so many people wanted me dead. But I would put my weapon in a Ziploc bag and set it on the soap bar rack just to take a shower. One time that almost failed when I had a girlfriend and I had my weapon on the nightstand and woke up and she was cocking it to kill me. I think that story was a little bit in the book. But yeah, my life has always been in danger. Post-traumatic stress disorder, it really gets to you when every single day you're looking over your shoulder. But crazy, crazy.
I think the average person watching this can't even conceptualize what you must have been through. Like the stress of always, like every single second of being awake, you're looking over your shoulder, wondering what's happening next, trying to protect yourself. We probably don't understand that, you know, and to have a
Yeah,
bullet go
it's
right by
human
you.
nature.
Yeah.
It's human nature. Aristotle Onassis, the Greek billionaire, my stepfather, when his son was killed and he died in my arms. My video on TikTok is pinned to the top of my page. Please see that video. But my stepbrother, Alexander Onassis, died in my arms on that plane. We crashed the plane. So I made a video of it. But after that, after his son was killed, these billionaires in the mafia, they don't advertise their losses. So they just said it was an accident. They covered it all up. It was actually murder. And Aristotle had the power. He went to a judge and he told that judge what had happened, and they hung the man that shot him in the head the next day. They hung him
Wow.
by the neck, and they let his whole family know that he was dying. But that's how that's the power billionaires have, and they can cover it all up. They said it was simply an accident. He died from a head wound from the plane crash, but I was a personal eyewitness on that plane. He died from a bullet to his head from the mechanic that was in the passenger seat, but it's all covered up. And it's all lies. Everybody's lied to about what really. I get so many comments. Well, Aristotle only had two sons. He didn't die from a bullet wound, and blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm telling the truth. My personal eyewitness stories, what they don't want you to know. So I wish people would wake up before they put these comments and realize you've been lied to, people. It's all a movie. You're all being lied to right now. And I'm exposing that. I'm putting my life on the line. And this book right here was a huge, huge achievement to get the truth out to you. I can't stress it enough. Um, this book was everything, and it was such a huge achievement just to get it out, so these viewers can share. We're being hindered. We're being blocked. Shadow banned. They don't want this out because I'm exposing the murderers and the corruption and how it really works.
Right. Right. So what why do you think that mechanic tried to kill him? Why do you think he tried to murder him? Like he had the gun to
Truthfully,
his head.
truthfully, by what he said before he shot my stepbrother. You got to remember, Aristotle Onassis was probably the mafia don. He was the big boss. And organized crime, they do a lot of bad things. And by what I remember, the mechanic saying, "This is what you did. This is for what you did to my family." Bang. So just by what I remember of that, and when I was young, I heard people talking Greek and everything else, but I remember him, in a rage saying, "This is for my family."
Okay. Yeah.
So
I mean,
it
because if
was
he was
it
going
was
to kill him,
probably a retaliation for some killings.
yeah.
But it's crazy at the top. It's crazy with all the killings at the top, that are being covered up and not exposed, that we don't know of. And I'm exposing how they operate. It's organized crime, and they kill a lot of people. Identity theft is the biggest deal because when they kill people, they replace the people to steal everything they own.
Right. A lot of times you'll hear of celebrities, politicians, someone that's famous, let's say, that a family member dies or this or that happens to them. That's never the story. It's either a sacrifice or, there's stuff happening that the average person doesn't even dream about. And we're just really starting to wake up to that now.
Well, like that picture in my book, if I can find it real quick. This picture in my book. That is me and my stepbrother. We are talking about rings in that picture right there.
Right.
But he had to commit a murder for that ring. It's the ring game. It's the mafia ring game. I don't know the whole story about the ring game, but he was sharing his ring with me. I was sharing my ring that I had got from the Queen of England. I didn't have to kill anyone to get the ring I got from the Queen of England. I wish I had that ugly ring, but we were talking about it. But I personally know he had to commit a murder to get his ring, and then he could never talk about what happened next. And what happened next was he stole my identity. He became me, and he stole millions and millions of dollars for the mafia. So
Okay.
the rings have a big part to play in it, but it's huge.
Do you know
It's
who
huge.
he killed? Did he happen to mention that to you?
No, it was probably one of my family members.
Okay. So basically, after he did that
It
deed,
could have been one of my aunts or uncles or cousins.
yeah,
But by what I've learned, I'm not a personal eyewitness to all of it, just what I have learned.
right,
Um, Lee Reswald and cousin Adam had been murdered and replaced. It could have been they took over the whole family. By 1975, I figured I had no family left. A lot of them, they said, the ones they didn't need to achieve their money, it was heart attacks or accidents, plane crashes, things like that. But the
right,
ones that would bring them the most money was usually a murder and identity theft to keep the money coming in.
right, right. So they would switch the person out, have a groomed person in there, control them, and then they suck the money out of their estate or whatever it would be.
Yeah. See, like when they replaced me with him, um, it's so powerful at the top. They probably had said they had killed me or I was dead. They placed me with the Quigley family, but they probably told the mafia, bosses and stuff at the time that I was dead. And that was risking their own life trying to keep me alive, saying I was dead. But there's so many spins to the story of why I'm still here. The protection I got with the Hells Angels. God bless the Hells Angels. I'll love my brothers forever. Some of them might not love me, but I'll love them forever. Um, it was crazy what we had to go through um, with government wanting to kill me. Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, the average person can't understand this. Like again, we've been programmed, we've been taught, the same story, the story we see in the magazines, on the news over and over and over. We're still getting videos about it, they're still reinforcing the program. So none
Oh
of that
yeah.
is real. You have
And
to question everything.
the organized crime ring of George Magazine is huge. It's so huge. They all come back to the same crime ring. They're still posting videos about the magazine and John running with Trump and all this BS. They're even saying now Elvis is alive and well and all this, but it's the same ring. They're all together. They
Yeah.
were actually, I believe, doing shows um, tied in with George Magazine and Elvis and all this other crap. You know, they had John supposedly on Mount Rushmore. That was all done with Donald Trump Jr. And these guys, but they're putting out the lies and the spin for some reason. I still can't figure it out, but we're gonna bury them. We're gonna expose them for
Yeah.
all the bullshit they're doing.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a grassroots movement. So the people that watch this video and read the book, they're going to tell their friends, they're going to tell their friends, and it's going to grow that way because obviously there is still a lot of censorship. Just the fact that he didn't get his mail that I sent him, which was like harmless, it wasn't anything nefarious. It's 3 days late. Yeah. And look at they took your TikTok down. I think it's back up now, right?
At one time they totally banned me.
Yeah.
I'm back up and running,
Okay.
but it's total censorship.
Yeah.
I made a video. I even stated in the video, this video is not intended to harm anyone in any way. They took that video down, and here's how they're working on TikTok. They took that video down, and then I appealed that video with TikTok. They sent me a half hour later. They sent their apologies. We're sorry. This video is okay. They posted it back up. They said we're going to post your video back up. I was like, okay, but I won the appeal. A half hour later, they took the video down and gave me a strike. Well, I made a video 2 days later. They did the same exact thing. They took that video down. They sent me a thing that said, yeah, your video doesn't hurt any. So people are being paid off at TikTok. You got the people with an open mind that say this video is not harming anyone, and they post it back up, and then you got somebody else that comes around and takes it freaking down because they're a Trump supporter, or they can't handle the real truth and don't want the truth out there because I'm exposing these people for pre-planned first-degree murder and identity theft. So it's huge. I got 2 strikes last week, but when I do lives within the last month and a half, I'll be doing a live. One time I was putting a little puzzle piece. They said there's no activity on your live, so I was putting a little puzzle piece in the other puzzle piece to show I wasn't a robot. And I said, "What's up, TikTok? You can't see I got 2,000 people watching me right now." And I put the little puzzle piece in the puzzle piece, and they took my video down
Yep.
and banned me for a week. So after that week, the next morning, after the week went by, I was able to make a live video. I started making my live video at midnight, and I was like, "Hey, night owls, I'm John Fitzgerald Kennedy. I'm sharing my story," and boom, they took me down again. But the past couple times I've done lives, I've actually been able to stay up. So it all depends who's working at TikTok, I guess, whether they're paid off or not.
Yeah. Well, they probably have it all automated that anything that comes from certain areas, or maybe there's keywords trigger like take it down. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it is very
And then
prevalent. So yeah, go ahead.
3 weeks ago, I started a YouTube channel. And if you want to join me on YouTube, go put the @ symbol in the search and then John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr., all spelled out. I'm still being blocked and hacked and shadow
Right.
banned and everything else on all channels.
Right.
But on YouTube, I had subscribers
Yeah.
and people subscribed. They told me subscribed, and then they said, I went back to your channel and I'm not subscribed
Yeah.
anymore. That
Yeah.
even happened with Robin. So we're being censored. They don't want this truth out. We're going to get it out whether they like it or
Yeah.
not. And
Yeah.
we're going to expose them for what they've been doing.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how hindered we are. This story should have made world news a long time ago. I mean, if people, really realize the depth of my story, being the son of a president, kidnapped, replaced by government agents, family members murdered, name changed, the whole deal is huge. Definitely worth world news. Definitely. Not being hindered, blocked. I mean, the people in our government should be screaming screaming for justice for me, for justice for my family members that have been killed. I mean, they should be screaming, raising all kind of hell. But
Right.
on the contrary, they're ignoring me.
They're orchestrating censorship, right? They don't want the story out, even though, this happened a while ago. So some of the perpetrators may not still be alive. Regardless, the story needs to come out. Yours is not the only one. Now, yours is a unique story, but you are not the only one that's had like this kind of stuff happen to them.
Oh
And
yeah, it's so huge. Organized crime is so huge.
yeah,
So many victims,
yeah,
and I'm hoping that we can all come together and join forces and share our stories. It's huge, but organized crime is running Hollywood. Organized crime is running the music industry, the entertainment industry. It's all being run by organized crime.
right,
Our Supreme Court, I'm a personal eyewitness to our Supreme Court being run by organized crime.
right,
From Justice Scalia's murder, I was personally there and seen his hot shot behind his back leg. I know of many others that I haven't mentioned to no one. Maybe I never will, maybe I will, but I've learned how our CIA takes care of business. I really have, and it's not good. It's not
right,
fun.
right.
They can make anybody disappear or have an accident, or organized crime is huge. Is my point. Um, but yeah, they should be screaming from the rooftops for justice to help clean up America. But they're all taking so much money. All the politicians, they don't want my story out. They don't. But I always think big, and my big thinking is getting so many followers that we are actually a militia with our voices to be heard. And that militia, we have the constitutional right to form a militia to overthrow our enemies, domestic and foreign. And that domestic part is huge because our enemies are now running this country.
Right.
Straight up, they are. And we have that right to overthrow them, not our country, but them that have been put in place by organized crime. And we need to, seriously. They've made us slaves. Our government has made us slaves. Um, I can't stress it enough. We owe trillions of dollars to people like China that we think is our enemies. Trillions. Why do we owe? Why do we owe China? Why do we owe these other countries trillions of freaking dollars? And how come we owe so much as an American? If you have a child born in this country, $75,000. That's slavery. If you have a child, that child owes $75,000 to the country it was born in. Um, it's not right, and we need to fix that. We really need. I got big plans to fix that. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fun, but we can do that by sharing my story and following and getting this militia together. If they can have a 1,000,000-man march in Washington, John Kennedy Jr. can bring 1,000,000 people to make this country a better place.
That would be amazing. So we know that you're going to do a motorcycle ride to Arlington and put your book on your father's grave. Do you have a month planned for that? Like,
Well, I'm thinking July 4th would be the best day in the world, Independence Day. But I'm thinking a little later on. The big motorcycle rally Sturgis is the next month after July, and it's gonna take a lot of money and planning and advertisement to make this work. I'm hoping, and like I said, I think big. I always do, and sometimes those big plans never come to reality. But I would like to see thousands and thousands of people in Arlington, Virginia, with books to place on my father's grave with me. So it might take a little more time, but 4th of July would be the day. Independence Day all over again to free America, to make my story world with everybody with their videos and making, sharing that day. It would be awesome. It really would. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see in the planning stage.
yeah, yeah. Okay, well, when it's closer, we'll promote it more. I'll help you promote it, and so people will know.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, this was just an idea. Heck, I think it was 6 weeks ago. I just got the motorbike,
yeah.
and then we're planning on getting a truck and trailer, and getting a trailer with my book and advertisement for this motorcycle run. And just a reminder, last year I was living in poverty with walking around the streets looking for change in payphones and paper machines, and laying on the ground picking up pennies. I picked up a lot of pennies, but we've come a long, long way, and it's all a huge achievement. Um, just getting one person, one follower, and one person to hear the story and realize we're screwed, and this man's been screwed, and if we share his story, we can break free out of our slavery.
Right.
But it's going. I had a vision last month of when I came to this idea of me and Robin, and thousands of people were all in Arlington, Virginia, and it was in my head like a movie, and I was like, we're doing it, God, it's gonna happen. So it's gonna happen. It is. It really is.
The movement will grow. Like I was just seeing the picture of like Forrest Gump, we was running across the country, and then a few people followed, then more, and then it became a thing, a story, right? So that's where we are. We're getting the momentum going here, and more people are watching the video than the stats will show. More people see your TikToks and other things than they're going to show. That's why they're taking it down. They don't want people hearing this.
Mama always said it's like a box of chocolate.
That's so funny. You got to make it fun. Yeah.
Yeah, we were at the dollar store. My favorite store in the whole world closed down. I love the 99-cent store, but the dollar stores and 99-cent stores, things aren't getting good for these big businesses. And the dollar store in my neighborhood, they just remodeled last year. They remodeled the whole store. They put in all the refrigerators, the freezers where they could sell milk and eggs and everything else. And now they closed down a year later. And that just right there, tells me shit's getting bad. If one year they're remodeling and the next year they're closing their stores. But yeah, the 99-cent store, and they didn't ever sell nothing for 99 cents after COVID hit. But they had these box of chocolates that they were closing down. I don't know what they were, 30% off or something. It's like, I'm getting Robin a box of chocolate.
Yeah. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah. So you started out talking about MK Ultra, and it's very prevalent out there. So basically, the people that are MK Ultra are brainwashed, and they will literally give up their life when they're brainwashed.
They will.
So
That's why I think the soldier suicide has been a program. I've been programmed. They put me through so many things, and I think it was to teach me, like I was saying earlier. But yeah, it's huge. 22 veterans are dying each day of suicide. You add up the numbers, and 22 a day, 365 days a year. Just say by 5 years or 10 years, you're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of soldiers. And then somebody made a comment this morning that there is 45,000 veterans homeless on the streets in America. These numbers are not good. They're very concerning that our government can't take care of its own people.
yeah,
But that's because they are all organized crime members, and they're all in it for themselves. They're not in it for the patriots, for me and you and anybody else. It's going downhill quick, but we can fix it. We can fix it really fast. I sit up nights thinking about how fast we can fix things. I really do. But yeah, MK Ultra is it's a massive.
yeah.
I think it's in my book, but I looked in this cylinder. Wayne had me look in this cylinder, and he opened the lid to it and showed me. And I don't think this is in my books, but it was all pictures. You know how you can write little funny things on a book, old school Hollywood. You can
Little
put little, and then if you go like that,
Yeah,
you'll be able to see little stick man moving his arms.
yeah.
It was the same principle, but it was a round cylinder, and it was full of these images of gore, murder, crazy shit. And he put the lid back on. It had like a little binocular top, but it would spin. It would spin really fast. And I looked in there, And nothing happened right away. Nothing happened. But a year later, I saw all these images in my head and they would not go away. And it was all kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself. You can't handle this shit no more. Kill yourself. So that day, I was just thinking of nothing but killing myself. And it all went back to that one cylinder that I was made to look in. And I was like, I can beat this shit. I don't know how, but I can beat this shit. And I'm thinking, it's a program like that that these people in the military have had to go through. Because when you're in the military, just like I was, they say you're in the military now, shut up, don't ask questions, you do what the fuck you're told. That's what they always told me when I was on a secret mission somewhere. Just shut the fuck up. You don't need to know. They'd hand me a jump rope. I'd be in a barracks all by myself because I would be, their secret project. And they would say, just jump rope, or they would bring me a big freaking cart full of sheets and they'd say, change all these sheets on all these beds. But there was nobody there but me. It's crazy the power the military has and what they can do. Absolutely crazy.
Right. So, was this cylinder, the one you just described, the first time you saw these kind of images like that?
Yeah, and they were stuck in my head. And it wasn't right away either. It was programmed for a later date, just like they can get a human and program them to commit a shooting a year later.
Right.
There could be people programmed right now to try to take my life in the future. I don't know, but it's possible. Under MK Ultra, they can make humans do things that they wouldn't do. And with that said, I believe my father's shooting, Oswald, and everything that was involved, people being on the street, Jack Ruby, all these people could have been under MK Ultra to make it happen, be at the right place at the right time. Bobby Shooter, my uncle, was shot, and the shooter says, I don't remember. I didn't even do it. I don't know what the fuck happened. MK Ultra, right then, right there. Las Vegas shooting. The signs are all there for MK Ultra. Our FBI not giving a reason why he did. You can't get a guy that's got all the money in the world, that has his own private plane, can fly around. He doesn't stockpile guns, take them up to the, and then you look at all what happened unfolded after the Las Vegas shooting. MGM, I believe, lost millions of dollars. You don't know what's going behind the scenes, but to get a shooter to go up and do what he did to kill innocent people, hello, MK Ultra.
Yeah. Well, it's clear that all of these events are corrupt. I mean, that everyone can see that. Like, who still believes the one bullet theory for the assassination of your father? One bullet caused that murder? I don't think so. So we know that there was a whole corrupt group that planned this out. And
yeah, and all they have to do is follow the money trail.
yeah.
When they see organized crime, you get paid for your deeds. That's how organized crime works. You get paid the murder money. So all they have to do is follow that murder money, and follow the trails to it. But they use real estate. You don't have to actually get paid in cash. You can get paid I'll give you the dollar store chain. Charles Manson I posted his video. He said he had more money 3 times in his life, but it was all on paper. That meaning real estate, deeds, titles. But yeah, they when those federal agents killed my mom in 75, they sat me down to confess on her murder. And when they were planning to kill me or have me sign a confession, because I said I wasn't going to sign a confession that I killed my own mother. I was hysterical at that time, but they were actually sitting there divvying up property like Quaker Oats, General Mills, huge businesses on paper.
Wow.
It's all connected and run by organized crime. And with that said, you ever go to a town and you're driving through that town, not a little bitty town, but a halfway decent town, and you drive and you see KFC, you see Long John Silver's, and then you got a McDonald's, and then you got a Burger King, and it's the same in these towns. It's not different. And I don't know what people think when they see that, and then they drive through another town and see the same thing. The first thing I see is organized fucking crime. That's the first thing I see when I drive through a town and see the same shit. It's like, what family owns that? And then you go through a little town like I live in Laughlin. You got the Riverside, and then you got the Aquarius, and then you got the Edgewater, and then you got the Colorado Bell, and then you got the Pioneer, and then you got the Nugget, and then down the street you got Harrah's. Um, that right there, when I'm driving down that street and I see those casinos, I say, okay, this crime family has that one. This crime family has this one. That crime family has this one. And I ain't just making this shit up. It's so true. And then you got Tropicana across the street, but it's all crime families that were allowed to put their casinos there to make millions of dollars.
Make even more money. Yeah.
But
Wow.
it's all organized crime. This whole country has been taken over by organized crime. It really has.
So what you're saying is that those agents that killed your mother, basically in front of you while you're like still recovering, like they're divvying up property like shares in different franchises or chains.
That they acquired for that committing that murder for the organized crime family. That was their payoff for doing their dirty deed.
Wow. Yeah.
And that was 1975. I was told. I was brought, I was rescued, thank God. But the agent that rescued me had shit in his pants because the whole time he thought he was going to be killed for what he did. The whole time. He's like, I just fucking got this kid from, federal agents, and now I got a price on my head. But we drove around in circles for the longest time because he was afraid he was being followed. But
Right.
he dropped me off at the Quigley family once again, and I was sobbing, I was crying. It took me days to get over my mother's death. Seeing her laying in a puddle of blood like she was, thinking that was the last of my loved ones. But if only people knew how crazy it was at the top. All the fighting over the money, the power. I'm sharing that. I'm sharing that the takeover of the Kennedy family actually happened by organized crime. They were all killed, all replaced. The ones that weren't replaced, had their accidents or, died of suicide or whatever. But it's organized crime, and these people that have taken over, and Donald Trump is part of all that. He's right up there in the organized crime ring, but they all are. Nancy Pelosi. I knew Nancy Pelosi when I was a child. She knows the story, and she was Speaker of the House for all those years, and she knew the criminal activity that was going on and never mentioned it. But they're all that way, all of them,
Right.
and they all need to go home. They really do. The money we are sending overseas for billions of dollars, it's putting us into the poorhouse. And even I read an article on World War II. Our government in World War II went to organized crime and the mafia for help to win the war. And this was in World War II. And the article I read explained how the mafia would, work. Our government would send, a boatload of shit to a dock somewhere for the military, and then the mafia would distribute it and take what they want. And they've been taking what they want ever since we allowed the mafia in our door. They've been taking whatever they want. And it's the same way. So we pay billions of dollars to these other countries. Let's say billions of dollars goes to Ukraine. Well, organized crime is right there divvying up what they want out of all that money. I just read an article, and I don't like to mention these wars and the political aspects of it. But one thing I read, and I'm talking about the money being distributed by organized crime. Zelensky You know, we're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine, and he's got mansions worth millions and millions of dollars. He has billions of dollars in the bank. Um, he's not hurting.
He just bought a
He's
yacht a few months ago. Everybody was outraged about that.
yeah. Um, it ain't right. It ain't right.
Yeah. Well, it's
Because
really
because
money laundering, just like you talked about how the dollar store closes. What I heard years ago, and I'll probably screw the story up, is that these companies like the drugstores, the CVS or whatever the chains are, they buy property and they fix it up and then it goes out of business. So there's somehow money laundering going on with that. And there's a lot of industries that, the common citizen doesn't realize it's all about money laundering. It's all about these.
yeah, and these franchises are given to, I learned that as a child, even in the small town I was at.
Yeah,
The people in the community um, that are, the secret society, organized crime, they're given things to run for organized crime. Um, these franchises, they're run by organized crime.
right,
Family members are allowed to run them. Ordinary outsiders can't. They're not allowed. But it's huge. It's huge.
yeah,
Everything is connected.
right. It totally is connected, and you can see the amount of money that these companies are bringing in. You know what I mean? And of course,
Uh,
the
and
prices are going up, but the
and
quality
Walmart
is
is
coming
right at
up.
the very top. It's
Yep.
so at the very top of this criminal activity. The family members have been put in place, but the family members were murdered and replaced, so they could achieve their goals. The Waltons, I don't know if the viewers are familiar with Walmart. Sam Walton was a truck driver. Um, he was a hardworking truck driver. He was given money from organized crime. I believe it was from my family members. He started a store called Sam's Club. He started that store with his idea. You don't need shelves. You don't need, you get a warehouse. You
Right.
put pallets of product. You walk around with your cart. You pull your product off the pallets. It saves everybody money. Sam Walton started that. Um, it became big. It took off. He started Walmart, the chain of Walmarts. Hillary Clinton was on that board of Walmart. There was many attempts on my life back there. Hillary Clinton would not fly with me. She was afraid that she would die in a plane crash that I was on. Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, it all ties back to Walmart, where everybody's shopping each and every day, supporting the crime families. We could get into everything else, but they're making billions of dollars, um, taking away money from small businesses in
Right,
America,
right,
putting us in the ground. It's huge, but it's all connected to the crime families,
right.
um, and they were murdered. Um, it's huge, the criminal, connection to all of it. It really is. Um, I say I'm boycotting Walmart. I won't support their criminal activity, and I still catch myself going in there for something I can't find, because they have it or it's cheap. But yeah, if I could put a ban on Walmart, I definitely would and give it back to we the people.
Your points are valid because, yeah, they're making so much money, but they've closed down all the mom and pops. And initially they were cheaper than everyone else, and they did have a wide range of products. Now it seems like the prices have gone up, so it's not as cheap as it used to be, but then nowhere is as cheap as it used to be. But you have limited places to shop, and that's the only place to go anymore. It's
And Sam Walton started it out to be made in America.
America. Yeah,
That was a slogan, made in America.
yeah.
Do you know that little design? Walmart has the yellow one. You know what that's called?
Is it like the little flower you mean? The little,
Yeah.
yeah, looks like a daisy or something?
You know what that's called though?
No.
The spark.
Okay. Meaning that's the first step or something?
It's called the spark design. Remember what I said about organized crime? How they, if you're a family member, they burn your body.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
yeah, it's called the spark. design. It's all the secret society and every other thing. But people
Yeah.
made a lot of money on Walmart and the things they did to put a Walmart in every town, like they have done.
Totally. And
I
we,
mean,
we
they've gone in there and just burned homes to build a Walmart.
oh,
You
well,
know,
I
they
know
can
that,
they literally can put a Walmart anywhere they want. They have that much power to put a Walmart store anywhere that they want.
and we know that Walmart is heavily involved with child trafficking. So both in person and online. Okay. And of course, the average person doesn't know all of that, but that's one of the reasons why they were developed, is what I heard. It's a network, you know. Wow.
Well, we need to expose them. We need to take our country
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
and we need to fix things in a hurry
Yeah.
because the communist takeover has begun. Organized crime, it's already in place. It's not for we the people. We live in a regime now, and it's real simple to tell the viewers. You know, when you're a good, kind-hearted, loving person, and you're up against these ruthless people that will kill children, traffic children, commit murders, commit identity theft, um, you can't win.
Yeah.
And they have totally taken over. So we need to be a little ruthless and take our country back from all these criminals and
Right.
give them justice that they deserve.
Right.
But yeah, they need to all be kicked to the damn curb, and this country needs to be given back to we the people.
Well, think of it this way. There's that show, the Ant movie that came out about 10, 15 years ago. And one ant really can't do anything against the mean grasshopper guys, right? But you get your buddies involved. There's a lot more ants than there are grasshoppers, and they can take back over. And that's what we need to do here. All right. So
That reminds me of that song.
what's
I heard that song when I was in England. The ants go marching one by one,
uh,
hurrah, hurrah.
yeah, but if we, the ant, the regular person, the common person, whatever you want to call it, the middle class person, we band together, we share this story, we can overcome this. All
When
right.
I was a child, I was given an ant farm, and it was in glass, and the ants are in there, and you watch them dig their holes. My ants all died, but I don't know what the meaning. You know, everything that was done when I was a kid had a meaning to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was given an ant farm when I was a kid, and I was always gone. But yeah, I was gone for 2 weeks. All my ants died for some reason. But yeah,
They were probably poisoned, right? I'm just joking.
could have been.
Yeah, yeah. I had a question, and again, I hate digging up the questions because it's painful for you, but you were kind of forced into marriage when you were younger, and
Oh,
you're
I was drugged. I had my balls cut. I was castrated where I couldn't have children.
yeah.
Um, I was high as a fucking kite. Um, the Quigley family told me I was going with them. I went to LA to the grandparents to my wife. You know, my it was my girlfriend's grand folks. He was tied in with John Gotti, but anyway, he was tied in with Hollywood, like people like Al Pacino and things like that. So anyway, I had just had my vasectomy done on a kitchen table. I had my nuts were like grapefruits from the infection that they put on me. I was, like I said, high as a kite. I'm in LA, and they say, we're going to Vegas. You guys need to be married if you're going to live together in our house. So we jumped in the car. We went to Las Vegas. We went and saw Redd Foxx. I'd already met Redd Foxx prior. We went to see him live, and he pointed me out for everybody else to take notice of me, saying, look at this dumbass honky motherfucker right here, laughing his ass off because he made me laugh. But he pointed me out on purpose because there was other people in his show that were pointing me out who I was. That was the purpose of that. I know that to this day. But we got married. We came back. When we came back the next day, she was sleeping with the neighbor across the street. Um, it was all planned, and I believe it was planned just to help steal Kennedy money if I was left money.
Ah,
But I could not have children. They made it so I could not have children. Then I had a child. Amazingly, I had a child. Um, so when my son was born, they did some crazy shit. They took that child back east, came back with another child. Um, the crazy shit they did was blowing my mind, but all the attempts on my life were huge. And as soon as my son was born, I like that's when the bullet grazed my cheek. I was poisoned. They were trying to kill me. I ended up just walking away with nothing, just so I couldn't be found anymore,
right, right.
because it was getting crazy. It
Yeah.
was crazy, but it was all pre-planned. Organized crime pre-plans this. They picked a date. They wanted me to have a child, um, but they put their own blood in the place of that child. That's how powerful these people are to do that. Extremely powerful. So what they did to me, I'm using that as an example to share to the world how powerful these fucking people are with
Right.
their pre-planning. So
Yeah.
they pre-plan murders just like Donald Trump. It's the worst crimes in the world, and they're getting away with it. Um, People ask me for my DNA all the time. It's like I'm exposing the worst criminals that are actually running the country. Ask them for their fucking DNA.
Yeah.
But yeah, quit bothering me. I've taken 4 DNA tests, and I'm spending a lot of money to get another one. But leave me the fuck alone with the DNA questions. Look at all the other proof. There's handwriting analysis that prove John Jr., the world news, stole my identity. There's facial recognition. Ears are like a fingerprint. They don't ever change. So how do I got this big fat earlobe just like I did when a kid? And if you notice how they do it, he always had his hair over his ears so you couldn't see his ears as a teenager, always. But then when he decided to come out, you know, on the Oprah Winfrey show, he was showing them off like crazy, and people still didn't catch it. You know, I was kidnapped and replaced in front of the whole world. I was the spotlight as a kid, and nobody even caught it. Well, maybe a couple people did, and then they just simply murdered him, made him have an accident.
Yeah. Or who would believe them? Like, look at, we're having trouble right now with some people believing. Like back then, all of this technology and all that wasn't as exposed as it is now. So who would believe them?
Yeah, but organized crime
Yeah.
is so huge. You see some of these old mob movies, a lot of them are right on the money. You see a new person new in town, coming to the town, and they took a check in at the motel, and then the guy at the motel's calling the mafia saying, "Hey, they're here." It's that tight connected. Or they go to a restaurant and you see the guy in the background on the phone saying, "Yeah, they're here." But you look at all those movies from the '70s, all those shows from the '70s. You got oh there's so many of them. I'm so bad with
Yeah, yeah.
names. But you mean like Cannon and oh man. Anyway, if you watch all these shows from the '70s, it's all about murder, all about the syndicate. They called it the syndicate in their shows. The syndicate's in control. But yeah, it's so controlled like that. It's crazy. They're all paid off.
Yeah. I was just wondering why they went through the exercise of having you marry and like, like yeah. So you answered the question. They wanted the money, the potential
They
money.
wanted me to have a child, so that money could go to that child.
Yeah.
But see, and this goes back to Opal May Edwards also. Um, she came to me at the Quigleys. She was supposedly my mother's sister, Dorothy Quigley's sister, Opal May Edwards. She came to me in the garage. She said she knew I was the real John Kennedy, I believe. But she came to me and she said, "There's some funny business going on here." She said, "Please remember my name. I'm afraid for my life." She said, "My name is Opal May Edwards. Please remember my name." I'm a young teenager. I was high on pot. This old lady's coming up to me telling me this shit. I was going, "Oh, wow, what's going on?" But she said, "I left you enough money. You'll never, ever have to work again a day in your life." And then she said, "If you ever have a child, they'll never have to work again either. There was that much money. And I believe her because she had a purse back then, and it was full of $100 bills. She had a little VW. I opened the glove box. It was nothing but stacks of $100 bills in her glove box. She was a pack rat, and what she packed was $100 bills. So when she told me she was leaving me enough money, I'd never have to work again in my life, I believed her. But then she disappeared. And then these organized crime members were doing things like painting a VW bright yellow and blue and orange stripes. And I'm like, that's Opal May's car. They just painted that motherfucker.
Yeah. 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 You put that in your book, but so where do you think she got all that money from?
I personally believe this is a conspiracy theory on my part, because she was married to Daryl Edwards. I believe he was one of the shooters that killed my father. The mob pays their people well. Daryl Edwards was connected with the mafia. They came into town once in a while. Daryl and Opal May came to town, and they always had business to do in big real estate development things, projects. But they would come to town and do that. But he was talking with Quigley's one time, and he was showing him a picture of a flower, but I knew he was talking in mob code. And he said, I made that shot because I was always steady when I made the shot. But when we went to Daryl's and Opal May's home, they had what they called a music studio. It was a home, but it was all plexiglass sealed, soundproof room. And when we would go there, the men would go in there and talk in the soundproof room where no one else could hear. So they would check for listening devices, but then they would go into a soundproof room so no one 100% could hear their conversations and their plannings of what they were going to do. But that was the kind of life that they were involved in. So my belief, just my theory, that just by him saying, he made that shot, and it was the shot around the world,
Right.
Told me he was one of the shooters that killed my father.
Right. Okay.
And that's how they got their money.
Right.
But yeah,
So you think they wanted you not to have your own blood child, or whatever you want to call it, relation, but they wanted you to have a child that was of another mafia member or organized crime member.
just like the replacement of me.
Yeah.
It's blood in, it's what I call blood in, blood out. They were taking the Kennedy blood out of the picture. They killed my whole family, my mother's side of the family, my father's side of the family. They killed them all. It wasn't just what you've been seeing on TV. And then they put their blood, which was Aristotle Onassis's part of the family, which was the Mafia Don. They put his child in place of me. It's the takeover. It's the blood in
Right.
and the blood out.
Right. Okay. That makes more sense.
They acquire the riches. Just like the son I had, it was not my son, but that son would have got all the riches. And then that son would have lived on the riches. Even though he wasn't my son, people thought he was my son.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's all pre-planned. It's all
Right.
or that's why they call it organized crime, because they're very organized and they plan shit in
Yeah.
advance.
It seems like they're like excellent planners. I hate to say it, and again, us guys are just like living. We're not thinking along these lines. And especially back then, people were more innocent. They weren't thinking along those lines. They didn't see the corruption and stuff quite as clearly as we do now. Of course, it's been amped up. Like back then they were more secretive. Now they're like kind of in our face,
Yeah. Oh, they love putting it. They love displaying their arrogance. Like I've said, it makes them feel powerful.
Yeah.
in their secret society, like, look what we did, and nobody's even paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just hope people pay attention. I have learned so much the hard way my whole entire life on how organized crime works. I've lost my loved ones to murder. I've seen how they distribute their money, how they use it, how they use identity theft. So I hope these people will wake up and realize I'm there for them. Um, I'm sharing what they don't want you to know, what they don't want these listeners to know. I'm sharing it.
Right.
I'm not trying to profit. I want a better life than I've had, most definitely. But I don't want a life of millions of dollars or anything like that. I just want people to be treated fairly, and like I was saying earlier, there's people with love and light and kindness, and we're the losers. We are the losers, and these people with no remorse that have no regard for human life, whether it's a child or an adult or any regard. They're the ones that
Right.
are in control now,
Right.
and we need to put a stop to it. So we got to put our foot down, even though we're carrying humans. We need to do something quick.
Yeah, I think that's what you just said is becoming obsolete. I think the bad guys are being exposed and taken out, and we're going to see it all come out. It's going to shock many. Like I like to think, the people watching these videos have a leg up. Like we're more aware of things that are happening out there. Now, we don't know everything, and we're still going to be shocked, but we're way, way more enlightened than the people that, are watching CNN for their news or whatever. Like,
I wish I had all the answers. I still don't have many answers, but I have a lot of truth, and hopefully that truth is enough to wake people up. But
truth is coming out.
I wish I had so many answers, and the
Yeah.
answers that I haven't had, I usually figure them out by it's all over money, money and
Yeah.
power.
Money, power, and
If I was thinking about why someone was murdered for this or that, it all comes back to money and power.
yeah. Yeah. And it's shocking that people could do that to each other for money. Like it doesn't even make sense.
Well, a
But
lot of these people too, they're trained killers.
yeah.
They have the military background, and in the military, they're taught, they're trained not to have remorse. If you need to take a life, you take a life. But that's carried on. When my sister was murdered, that man was in his 60s back then. I was just a child, but I remember him well, and he had no remorse. He was getting those children to kill my sister. But they're put in place. They're the people in power of our country, and some of these people need a little more remorse and think about what they're doing to other
Yeah.
human beings.
Yeah.
They really do.
I think all the history, all this corruption is coming out. Like we're aware that, for example, Operation Paperclip, we brought in Nazi scientists, and they're part of our government now. We've got Israelis running our government. Okay, so there's a conflict of interest. England has still got their mitts on our country. You know what I mean? Nothing is as we've been taught. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
corruption.
Well, the same people that have taken over the United States government have taken over England also.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I'm a personal eyewitness to that. When I was young, there's a picture of me bowing to the Queen, but I learned the takeover of England also,
yeah,
which is the same as Canada. I know Canada has been taken over by organized crime. Australia, um, Ireland.
yeah,
It's huge. It's all connected
yeah,
to the same crime ring, and
totally,
we need
totally.
to fix it. We
Yeah,
need to fix it.
yeah. Well, I feel like we're at a good breaking point, and I thank you for A, still being here, B, for having the courage to bring your story out to the public, because I think the public needs to know this. And I think we're very appreciative, and you're going to gain more and more support. Again, you just have to hang in there. The censorship is showing us that they don't want the story out.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
know?
That's why all your viewers, please share my story with the world. Go old school, carry the book, get the book,
Yeah,
carry it around.
Yeah.
I carried my book around with me and I was sharing it with, I think I sold 5 copies the other night just with people asking me. I didn't have to go out of my way. They asked me what the heck I was doing with a book in my hands. Like, that's me on that book. So if you carry the book around, somebody asks you, say, hey, this is my friend John, and he's the real John Kennedy Jr. And share it, share it, share it every which way. That's how we're going to win.
Yeah.
We're going to
That's
expose
exactly
them,
right.
you know, out of the darkness and into the light. That's one saying that helped me mentally stay alive.
Yeah.
But thank you, Sue, so very much. You're
Thank
so
you.
appreciated.
I really appreciate, like I said, you having the courage to write the book and share your story, because if you didn't do that, we would never have known. You know what I mean? And like I said before, your story is cross-pollinating with other people that have they've gone through similar experiences. They're coming out as well. So it is all coming out.
And it needs to. And we need to join forces and share everybody's, you know, there's so much we can do,
Yeah,
but as a group of people, we can do more. You know, there's a lot of individuals out there and they don't want us to get together to share our stories.
true. That's true. Well, thank you very much again. Thank you guys for watching. Please share. And again, please get the book, Stolen Identity, which is a fabulous title. It tells what's happened, not only to his family, but there are so many more out there that have gone through this. We don't even know. So it's crazy, isn't it? Thank you so much, John, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It was all my heart. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.